Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're cracking open Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, now you might be thinking, "Oh, not that book again." But trust me, even if you've skimmed it before, we're going for those hidden gems, the ideas that make you rethink money,
Right.
even if you already consider yourself financially savvy.
Yeah, it's interesting how this book, often sitting on people's shelves for years, sparked such a huge debate about what it really means to be financially literate, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And let's be real, financial advice can sometimes feel like
Yeah.
like a minefield of gurus and get-rich-quick schemes, but that's not our vibe here.
Right.
We're all about practical takeaways and aha moments. So imagine working for 10 cents an hour as a kid.
Yeah.
Feels a bit exploitative.
Oh, for sure.
Well, Kiyosaki actually did this, and it was a turning point in how he viewed money.
Yeah, that story is at the heart of one of his most famous and often misunderstood lessons. The rich don't work for money. It's not that wealthy people just lounge around, it's about a fundamental mindset shift.
Okay.
Instead of seeing work as just trading hours for dollars, the focus is on building systems that generate income even when you're not punching a clock.
So it's like building a machine that makes money for you while you sleep.
Exactly.
Okay.
And a key part of that machine is understanding the difference between assets and liabilities.
Right.
Assets are things that put money in your pocket while liabilities take money out.
Gotcha.
A rental property that brings in rent every month, that's an asset.
Makes sense.
That shiny new car with a hefty loan payment, that's a liability,
Okay.
even if it looks impressive in the driveway.
So you're saying it's not about looking rich, but about building a solid financial foundation?
Precisely.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki emphasizes the importance of cash flow
Okay.
because it shows your true relationship with money.
Right.
He also observes that truly wealthy people often buy luxuries last as rewards for their smart decisions,
Right.
not first for appearances.
Now, that's an interesting point that I think a lot of people miss.
Yeah.
So let's talk about minding your own business, which, to be honest, always sounded a bit harsh to me.
Right.
What do you really mean by that?
It's not about being rude or antisocial.
Okay.
It's about building that asset column we talked about,
Uh-huh.
creating your own wealth rather than relying solely on a job.
Right.
Take Ray Kroc, the mastermind behind McDonald's.
Okay.
He wasn't just selling burgers, he was strategically building a real estate empire by securing prime locations for his franchises.
So it's like recognizing that true wealth building often happens outside of your day job.
Yes.
That's a pretty powerful idea, especially in today's economy where having a side hustle is almost expected.
It definitely challenges the traditional notion of working your way up the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
The average worker focuses on income, which often translates to increased spending and more liabilities.
Uh-huh.
The wealthy, on the other hand, focus on acquiring income-producing assets that grow their wealth over time.
Okay, now for a topic that always gets people fired up. Taxes.
Right.
Lesson 4 delves into the history of taxes and the power of corporations.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki presents this historical perspective, arguing that income tax, initially sold as a way to punish the rich,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately ended up disproportionately affecting the middle class.
And this is where things get a little controversial.
Yeah.
He explains how the wealthy use corporations to legally reduce their tax burden, taking advantage of systems that aren't typically available to everyday individuals.
I can see why some people find that frustrating, but I think it's important to remember that he's not advocating for tax evasion or anything illegal.
Right.
It's about understanding the rules of the game.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
His point is that these systems exist, and it's important to understand them so you can make informed decisions about your own financial strategy.
Right.
It's not about evil rich people,
Right.
but about leveling the playing field through knowledge and education.
Now, this next lesson is one of the most intriguing titles in the book. The Rich Invent Money.
Uh-huh.
It sounds almost magical, but I'm guessing it's a bit more nuanced than that.
You're right.
Okay.
Kiyosaki illustrates this point with the story of Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone.
Right.
He offered his patent and company to Western Union for $100,000,
Wow.
but they scoffed and rejected the offer.
Wow, that's got to be one of the biggest missed opportunities in history.
Right.
Yeah.
And this highlights Kiyosaki's point.
Okay.
The rich are often the ones who can see the potential in things others overlook.
Right.
It's about recognizing opportunities and having the vision to create something valuable.
So it's not just about stumbling upon a lucky break, but about developing the financial intelligence to spot and capitalize on those opportunities.
Yeah.
But what exactly does he mean by financial intelligence?
He breaks it down into 4 key pillars: accounting, investing, understanding markets, and the law.
Gotcha.
These aren't just skills for Wall Street tycoons. They're the foundations for anyone who wants to take control of their financial future.
So it's about having more options and being adaptable in a world where things change constantly. That's a message that resonates with me for sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, let's be realistic. Even when you have financial knowledge, there can be internal obstacles that hold you back.
Right.
Lesson 6 tackles overcoming obstacles, and one of the biggest he addresses is fear.
Okay.
Kiyosaki uses a powerful analogy about the Alamo. While it was a devastating defeat for the Texans, they turned it into a rallying cry, remember the Alamo.
Right.
They didn't let fear paralyze them, but instead used it as fuel to move forward.
That's a powerful way to reframe fear.
Right.
But how does that apply to our financial lives?
Think about it.
Okay.
For many people, the fear of losing money is so great that it outweighs the potential joy of gaining wealth.
Yeah.
This fear keeps them stuck in a cycle of playing it safe, never truly taking the risks needed to achieve financial freedom.
So it's not about being reckless, but about recognizing that calculated risks are part of the journey.
Exactly. He also talks about how cynicism, laziness, and arrogance can sabotage financial progress and encourages readers to challenge those negative beliefs.
Okay, so how do we actually get started on this path to financial freedom? Lesson 7 is all about getting started, and it opens with a quote from a gold miner. There is gold everywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Most people are not trained to see it. What do you make of that? It's about developing that financial vision, recognizing opportunities that others might miss.
Yeah.
And it all begins with defining what you truly want, and equally important, what you don't want in life.
Okay.
It's about having clear goals and values, not just chasing riches blindly.
So it's more than just making money. It's about creating a life you love.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki highlights the importance of investing in your education, both in terms of financial literacy and personal development.
Right.
He also stresses finding mentors who can guide you
Okay.
and surrounding yourself with a positive and supportive community.
That makes sense.
And finally, Lesson 8 offers some practical to-dos, those actionable steps you can take even if you're a beginner.
Right.
He talks about paying yourself first, reinvesting savings into assets, finding good advisors, and mastering those financial formulas we mentioned earlier.
Yes.
But honestly, that last one sounds a bit intimidating.
It might sound complex, but it's really about understanding the fundamental principles behind money and investments.
So it's not about memorizing complicated equations, but about grasping those core concepts that can help you make smarter financial decisions.
Exactly. And one of the most interesting to-dos he suggests is being an Indian giver. And now, before you get the wrong idea, he's not advocating for being deceitful.
Yeah, that sounds a bit ethically questionable.
It's actually about always seeking a win-win situation in your financial dealings.
Okay.
Instead of approaching things as a zero-sum game where one person wins at the expense of another, he encourages creating mutually beneficial relationships.
So it's about building partnerships and collaborations where everyone benefits.
Right.
That's a refreshing perspective, especially in a world that often feels very competitive.
It certainly challenges the traditional notion of dog eat dog in the business world.
All right, so that covers the core lessons of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But as you know, we like to go beyond just summarizing the book.
Right.
In part 2, we'll dive deeper into some of Kiyosaki's most thought-provoking concepts, and we'll explore some of the criticisms surrounding his work.
Picking up where we left off, let's explore a few more of Kiyosaki's key concepts.
Okay.
He introduces this idea of the 4 quadrants of cash flow.
Right.
It's basically a model for understanding different ways people earn income.
Okay. Break that down for me.
Okay, so he labels them employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor.
Gotcha.
Most people, he argues, are stuck in the employee or self-employed quadrants. They're trading time for money, often finding it tough to achieve real financial freedom.
So the classic 9-to-5 grind, or even being your own boss but still hustling nonstop.
Exactly. Kiyosaki's point is that the real shift happens when you move into the business owner or investor quadrants.
No.
This is where you build systems that generate income without needing your constant attention.
So it's about creating something bigger than yourself, something that can run even when you're not there, micromanaging every detail.
That's the idea.
I see.
Think about building a successful business or becoming a savvy investor.
Right.
Those are paths that let you leverage time and money in a way that can create exponential wealth growth.
And I think what's appealing about this concept is that it's not just about personal gain.
Right.
Kiyosaki talks about creating value and leveraging other people's talents and resources, which can have a positive ripple effect on the economy as a whole.
That's an important point.
Yeah.
Now, remember how we talked about those mental roadblocks that can hold people back?
Uh-huh.
Kiyosaki delves deeper into those, and he doesn't sugarcoat things.
Right?
He talks about fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, even arrogance. All things that can sabotage your financial progress, even when you have the knowledge.
It's almost like self-sabotage, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can have all the tools and information, but if you're not in the right mindset, it's hard to make progress.
He's big on developing a positive and proactive mindset.
Okay.
He's all about taking action, putting your knowledge into practice, and not being afraid to learn from mistakes.
So it's about embracing the journey, even the messy parts.
Exactly.
Right.
He also digs into the power of compounding,
Okay.
how small, consistent investments can grow significantly over time.
Right.
This can create real wealth and financial security, but it requires patience and discipline.
That long-term vision is something I struggle with sometimes. It's
Yeah.
easy to get caught up in the immediate needs and wants.
It's a common struggle.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki also emphasizes the power of mentorship.
Right.
Finding someone who has achieved the success you desire can be invaluable.
Yeah.
You learn from their experience, avoid costly mistakes, gain insights you might not discover on your own.
It's like having a guide through the financial jungle.
Right.
But how do you actually find these mentors?
Well,
Are they just hanging out waiting for us to ask for advice?
Kiyosaki suggests looking for people who align with your values,
Okay.
who have achieved the results you want,
Huh?
and who are genuinely willing to share their knowledge.
Right.
He encourages being proactive.
Okay.
Go to events, join networking groups.
Yeah.
Reach out to people who inspire you.
Makes sense.
Don't wait for the perfect mentor to fall into your lap.
I think a lot of people are hesitant to ask for help or guidance,
Yeah.
but it sounds like he's saying that seeking out mentors is a crucial part of the process.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And being a good mentee is equally important.
Uh-huh.
Be respectful of their time, be eager to learn, actually apply the advice you receive.
Right.
It's a two-way street.
Okay, so we've talked about the practical side, the systems, the mentors,
Right.
but there's also this idea of finding your path in life, a chapter that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
It felt like it went beyond just making money and spoke to something deeper.
You're right. Okay.
He argues that finding your path isn't just about a specific job or salary. It's about uncovering your unique talents and passions.
Right.
Then finding a way to align those with your work and your life.
So it's less about what do you do and more about why do you do it.
He's big on listening to your intuition, following your heart,
Okay.
having the courage to pursue what truly inspires you, even if it's unconventional.
That can be a tough message, especially if you're surrounded by people who are focused on a more traditional path to success.
It definitely challenges the status quo,
Yeah.
but he believes that true fulfillment often comes from aligning your work with your values,
Right.
making a positive impact on the world.
It's like finding that sweet spot where your passion, your skills, and the needs of the world intersect.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's something I think a lot of people are searching for.
It's a lifelong journey.
Now, on a more practical level, Kiyosaki really hammers home the power of financial education.
Okay.
He argues that financial literacy is crucial in today's world,
Right.
where we're increasingly responsible for managing our own finances and planning for our future.
And he's pretty critical of the traditional education system, right?
Oh, yeah.
He feels like it doesn't adequately prepare people for the real-world financial challenges they'll face.
He's definitely a proponent of taking ownership of your financial education.
Okay.
Read books, attend seminars, learn from mentors.
Right.
Don't rely solely on what you were or weren't taught in school.
And that makes sense.
Yeah,
The world of finance is always changing, so continuous learning is key.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He's also a big believer in teaching children about money and investing from a young age.
Right.
It's about empowering them with the knowledge and skills they need to be successful in the financial world.
That's something I'm trying to do with my kids.
Yeah.
I want them to be financially savvy, but it's hard to know where to start sometimes.
He emphasizes starting with the basics.
Okay.
Help them understand the value of money,
Uh-huh.
how to save, how to make smart spending choices.
Right.
And as they get older, introduce them to more complex concepts like investing and entrepreneurship.
So it's about building that financial foundation early on, giving them the tools to make informed decisions as they grow up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Kiyosaki also talks about having a financial plan,
Okay.
knowing your goals, having a strategy,
Right.
breaking it down into actionable steps,
Right.
tracking your progress.
Hmm.
It's not just about dreaming of wealth.
Right.
It's about having a roadmap to get there.
That makes it feel less overwhelming.
Yeah,
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
we have.
We've explored Kiyosaki's key lessons, his ideas about finding your path,
Uh-huh.
the power of financial education.
Right.
But I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. The criticisms that have been leveled at Rich Dad, Poor Dad and at Robert Kiyosaki himself. You're right. It's important to acknowledge that while this book has been incredibly popular
Yeah.
and sparked important conversations about financial literacy,
Uh-huh.
it's also faced its fair share of criticism.
Some critics argue that Kiyosaki oversimplifies things,
Right.
that he doesn't adequately address the risks that come with investing.
Right.
There are also questions about whether his own financial success is really a blueprint that everyone can follow.
And there's been debate about some of his claims, particularly the existence of his rich dad
Yeah.
and the details of his financial dealings. That's definitely something to consider.
It's crucial to approach his advice with a critical eye.
Okay.
Do your own research.
Uh.
Talk to qualified financial advisors,
Yeah.
your personal situation, your risk tolerance, all of that matters.
Kiyosaki himself says the book is meant to be a conversation starter, not a step-by-step guide to riches.
Right.
He encourages readers to think for themselves, to challenge conventional wisdom, to find their own path.
And he stresses that financial success isn't just about the numbers in your bank account.
Right.
It's about having a healthy relationship with money, using it as a tool to reach your goals and create the life you want.
That's a point I think gets lost sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not just about accumulating wealth, but about what that wealth enables you to do.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
Okay.
I think the main takeaway is this.
Uh-huh.
It's a valuable resource for sparking a conversation about money,
Yeah.
for challenging how we traditionally think about finances,
Right.
and for encouraging us to take control of our financial future.
But it's essential to be discerning,
Yes.
to do your own homework,
Uh-huh.
to seek out expert guidance when you need it.
And remember, your financial journey is unique.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all path to success.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly.
It's about constantly learning, growing, adapting as the financial world changes around us.
So keep exploring, keep challenging yourself,
Yeah.
and keep striving to create a life of financial freedom and fulfillment.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Of course.
We'll be back next time with another deep dive into ideas that matter.
All right.
Until then, keep learning and keep growing.